The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Scarefest Radio for Easter weekend. Original broadcast date, April 19th, 2019. And tonight, we avoided the train wreck by bringing in Mr. Brandon Griffith to come on the air and to just talk about Scarefest. Because I haven't seen him for a month. I haven't got to speak to him about anything. And so basically, we didn't have a guest scheduled for tonight. We had one next week. We had the count, and we just totally overlooked this weekend. So I decided I came this close to saying screw it, we ain't doing nothing. But we decided to just have a little rap session, a little to do, if you will, to talk about what all's coming up on the Scarefest for the Scarefest as far as some of the various facets of planning that goes into the expo. One side note, seminars, you're SOL. The seminars are closed as of the end of March, so I've announced that before. But oddly enough, and now Brandon, this is something that Amber's a little behind the curve. She's usually got that seminar list to me like the day it closes. And this time, I have not heard anything out of her for the seminar schedule.
Well, you can probably blame me for that one. We've been missing each other for about the last 2 weeks, and so I can take the blame on that one. She still's running a pretty near perfect record then.
We need to get that because and this will segue into my next comment because I need to get graphics done for all of the speakers. Everybody, if you didn't know, I do the website graphics and the graphics you see on Facebook for the guest. And I did want to tell you, Brandon, you can go ahead and mark this down. As of Scarefest 13, I will probably have to or 12. I will at the end of it. I will have to actually resign as your graphics designer because there is no way I can freaking top what I did this year. There is just no way.
I was going to say, but you've got to put that in better context starting out. I can't take a shot to the ticker like that one.
I am not Joel Robinson. I just can't keep pulling this good stuff out of my rear end. We may just use the same thing like over and over and over. Because some cons do that. They just come up with a theme and they just roll with it. So maybe that's what we should do.
No, you got to push it, man. You can't say that you plateaued out this year. No, you've got so much more room to grow as an artist.
Hi, Nicole. Everybody, by the way, tonight was Brandon and Nicole's date night.
I know you can see me. Hi.
See, if you're actually in front of the camera, then we can see you. So unfortunately, we did cut into Brandon's cuddle time tonight.
Well, I was able to throw some clothes on real quick, and then I mean, let's be honest. It's date night. I'm 40 years old. It's not as impressive as it was 10, 15 years ago.
I can't hear it.
Now, for the record, I being the loyal servant that I am, I always plan my date night for Saturday nights. Speaking of which, next weekend, the new Avengers movie drops. I get to go next weekend and see it opening weekend.
And I will get to see it when it comes out on Vudu.
It's and everybody, it is at the Ross Opera House in Cynthiana, Kentucky. You can go for date night for what, $25, $25. So if you're looking for a good place to see it, that's not exactly IMAX, but it's a great little theater. But yeah, we've been looking. The thing is, they announced it like that they were getting it like first of the month, and so all month long I'm like, now which weekend? I had to actually Google it because they didn't actually put a date on it. They said we're having it opening weekend, and so I'm so disappointed though that they're going to bring everybody back to life.
I get excited about it. Like, I don't get me wrong. Like, I love the Avengers series and all that, but like, it's hard for me to get that excited about it. Like, I get more excited about like your Pet Cemetery and things like that coming out. Like the Avengers and like the Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, like those are it's kind of my sides. My main course is more of like the Us release. Like me and Nicole actually got to go watch it in the theater, which is Scarlett made it through the whole thing. A 2.5-year-old. Yeah, she made it.
Now,
and Nicole. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I'm disappointed to hear that because I actually, in the process of cleaning out some old junk, I found my childhood collection of comic books. And so for your birthday, as long as I know you now, I was just going to give you a 40-year-old comic book every year. But if comic books aren't your thing, then we'll just...
I didn't say that. We're talking two different mediums. We're talking two different mediums. And yes, I have quite the comic book collection. I enjoy that. So if you're, parting ways,
I'll give you the ones that I found that the mice ate the corners on.
Yeah. Well, speaking of digging things out, so obviously we mentioned my Dukes of Hazzard cup earlier, and so I am now drinking out of that this evening. And this was my cup when I was 5, 6 years old, when sliding across the roof of a car and blowing shit up with a bow and arrow was awesome. Little did I know this cup would follow me 30 years into the future, and I would be drinking bourbon out of it.
So did you just come across that going through your childhood mementos, or run out of cups? Or
my mom never throws anything away. There's probably dirty diapers and shit from when I was a kid that are still packed away somewhere. So I find all these interesting little knickknacks every so often in a tote or a whatever kind of hidden away.
Now that also begs to ask, were you part of the proud Kentucky tradition of drinking coffee when you were 4 and 5 years old?
I did, because I had asthma, and so I couldn't when I couldn't breathe, and the inhaler wouldn't work. I got coffee out on the back porch.
I had no idea that would help with asthma.
Caffeine, man, it helps every time, which may be the reason why I could chug a 5-hour energy and then take a nap.
One other thing before we get to Scarefest. Well, this is Scarefest business. But now, okay, people, this is what we're up against. I've been a little bit off the grid. We've been busy. So I finally got around to checking our tweets today. And when I say tweets, that's people tweeting the Scarefest. And this one caught my eye, Brandon. It was in response to the weekly post of Bruce Campbell coming to the Scarefest. Okay? Someone actually tweeted this on that banner. He comes almost every year. Blah, blah, blah. And my response was, I'm pretty sure you're thinking of someone else because A, he's never been. B, we've been trying for years to fit into his schedule. And C, he's never been. So there's my little tribute to Twitter tonight. And
So wait, did that comment go on by any chance? Was there any more to that?
No,
I want to give this person a chance at redemption, and maybe that comment just didn't cut off there.
That was the only thing that showed up on the timeline, and I actually pulled up the tweet, which would normally show the conversation if there was one. And yeah,
I know exactly what's happened. No, he is not wrong. Maybe no, I guarantee it's a mistake. What he's done is he's seen Billy Crank, and he has inadvertently made the connection that's Bruce Campbell for some reason. In fact, from now on, we should just advertise him like that.
Well, we could do that. We'll do that. So everybody, yes, Bruce Campbell is in fact not really Billy Crank, but just for the sake of saving on advertising, we're just going to treat them from here on like they are the same person. So that should help the budget a little bit. So I've covered that. Let's see here. What's going on with Scarefest? Let's go ahead and get to business now. I know one of the things you want to talk about, as always, now Scarefest is famous, if you will, for not just being an expo. We actually put a lot of thought and a lot of work into the entertainment that goes along with it, both at the con and after the con. So that was one of the things that you mentioned. What are some of the things that we're floating, that we're working on as far as the entertainment part of the Scarefest?
So, first of all, I want to shout out to Bryce Horror FX. If you guys saw like the big, huge setups of like the props and scenes that we had set up at the pre-function last year, that was all Bryce's work. Mm-hmm. Like the giant Yeti, the upside down corpses, like the huge mutant scene, like that was all Bryce. And so we reached out to Bryce earlier this year, and so we're really looking to beef up like that whole like ambiance of that, like those professional sets and scenes, like throughout the floor. And so I'm really excited. Like he's got some new pieces. He's going to be bringing them in this year. I'm going to reach back out to him here soon, and hopefully have like a big, huge display with that going on. I was really excited. Like it always to me, like when I go to shows and stuff and I check stuff out, like it's not enough if you just walk through like a con floor and there's nothing that really kind of like sets it apart or doesn't give you the ambiance or feel of like, you know, movies and stuff like that, then I don't know. It just kind of feels like going to a trade show or walking through Walmart to an extent. And so like I like to, the more we can do with that, the better, I think. And so trying to set that up and then working on a lot of stuff for the outside portion of the convention. So like the High Street areas and the Vine Street, having some really kind of intricate settings out there. So when you walk in, like you get the feel from beginning to end. And so having stuff like not only on the con floor, but having stuff outside of it too. And just kind of, instead of us being housed in our own little like rough arena section, like trying to expand out into downtown a little bit more. And even, I tell you what, I would love to be able to do some stuff in Triangle Park too. But, you know, that's something that'll come later down the road, hopefully. But for right now, like, you know, Bryce and a lot of the guys that we're working with, I'm really excited to see what they pull out this year because some of that work is just amazing.
The stuff that they brought last year was amazing. Now the question begs, where are you gonna put this stuff? Because we filled up the pre-function area with Expo this year.
We are stacking as much as we can. What was it? Like you always hear the expression like 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. This is, but not the same. 10 pounds of awesomeness in a 5-pound bag. We have to work with what we got. However, you know, I think that we're going to be able to expand beyond like the pre-function area, and really kind of get out into. We've got that area, and then we've also got the third floor, which is where all the thoroughbreds are, and we've got all the thoroughbred rooms over to the side too. So we've got a good layout upstairs that we're working on finalizing. So we've got more space than what it looks like if you're just looking at the con floor, the main floor at the bottom. So we're gonna find a way to utilize every square inch of space that we can. Every inch counts. It's date night, and that's my slogan for the night.
I got that. Okay. Now, if the plans haven't changed, though, now just to quell the concern, the vendors are all still going to be on the lower level, correct?
Yes, I do not like the idea of splitting up vendors. I like for those guys to be on the same floor as celebrities. I don't want folks to get lost. But, you know, one thing that we are definitely doing this year is we've added a pretty good amount of money to the budget in terms of signage. I don't want folks getting lost. Anytime we separate the floors and stuff like that, like you'll notice it at Comic-Con, you'll notice it at you know, shows like Horror Hound that are kind of like everything's kind of really branched off. You know, signage is important. So
signage is important, and now I know from experience at Scarefest, because we've been in the same big truck in the same area for so long. I remember when we tried doing the psychic lounge upstairs, and the thing was, everybody said, "Well, I didn't even know it was up there." Now, Comic-Con, back in March, they do a great job with signage. This is in no way a critique of them. But because they had to spread out so much this year, even me walking around actually trying to get the feel of being spread out more, I just like tripped over rooms of vendors that were just, back in little cubby holes and stuff. And so I definitely understand why we want to avoid that part of it.
Well,
and
I
think it's a smart thing.
Anybody that went to Comic-Con, like I thought this was really interesting. Like I was curious. They actually did the same thing that we're doing, and that's using the Elkhorn rooms. Like now, for you guys that don't know Elkhorn and the square footage of the Lexington Center, like I do, from years of studying and memorization and stress and anxiety, the Elkhorns are where we usually have like the speaker rooms and the photo ops and things like that. So the Elkhorns we're going to be using as another exhibitor hall. And so at Comic-Con, the exhibitors there, like I went in and met some of those guys and talked to them and just kind of wanted to get a feel for what they were seeing. And it was funny, they had, the first day they hadn't gotten a lot of foot traffic. And the next day, they created their own banners and signage. And they hung them on the urinals, they hung them on the doors. You couldn't take a piss without seeing 3 signs for vendors in Elkhorn. And so I went in and talked to them that day, and they did astronomically better. And so you can make that area work. It's going to be good, I think. But it's just like anything else. You've got to have signage. Otherwise, people will follow who's in front of them, and they'll just keep going. And so you've got to have it. Signage and chairs, Wes.
Signage and chairs. Urinal signage and chairs. Urinal signage and chairs. Everybody, we're going to take our first commercial break. We'll be right back with more Scarefest Radio. Have you checked out the Mama Ruby's family of metaphysical and spiritual shows? The Mystical Fair in Lexington, Kentucky, Lexington's only monthly psychic and holistic healing arts fair. The Inner Light Festivals in Louisville in June and Lexington in November. And watch for Mama Ruby's Expo coming in 2020. Plus, Mama Ruby's Meta Lecture Series, featuring interesting guests speaking on fascinating subjects. Start your journey now at mamarubies.com for more information. And a quick reminder that the next Mystical Fair in Lexington is May 25th and 26th, but Inner Light Festival coming up June 1st and June 2nd in Louisville. And I've been asked to mention they still have like 10 vendor booths available. So they do still have vendor space available for the Inner Light Festival in Louisville, June 1st, June 2nd. So if you've been looking for a place to sell your wares, and you have metaphysical and art or whatever, it's a good place to be. So, we've been working on the floor plan, and the signage, and the
things that are boring as shit, basically. Yeah, like the nothing sexy about a floor plan. But it does make a difference.
Are we still looking by when you incorporate those halls into the floor space? Okay, I know we're going to come into what is normally the pre-function. Boom, you're at Scarefest. To get to the main floor, are we still looking at utilizing the hallway, or are we going down by the toilet? What are we doing?
We're using the hallway this year. as of right now, we're going for the hallway.
Okay.
And we've cut down the distance. We've identified some things to put in there to where you're not just walking down this long, dank hallway. Something that'll give you something to look at, something that'll keep you interested and entertained.
And I know another thing now I'm going to go ahead and give all the smokers a heads up. The smoking areas are going to be, I should say the smoking re-entry is going to be highly, highly limited. So don't think you can just wander out any place and get back in.
If I see those doors open up on the hallway, I trust me, I feel for you. I empathize. I understand. I would not ask anyone else to do what I'm not willing to do myself. And my happy ass will be marching back out the front, exactly where you're supposed to go. But when those side doors open for whatever reason in Rupp Arena, like it turns into like Mad Max, post-apocalyptic, like hallway from hell, like just shit goes crazy. Like you cannot control it. And I've not been able to put my finger on it. Like it's out of control with that hallway and smokers. I love you, smokers.
Well, it's mostly a security matter. There's just not enough warm bodies normally available to properly watch the designated smoking areas, let alone the wild card ones. So I just want to throw that in there. Now, another important point, and this is something that we're getting ready, I'm sure, to go full tilt on, because Brandon mentions it every time I see him. We are really upgrading our film festival this year.
Holy shit! I am really excited. So we tried some different stuff this year, and I've really put a lot of thought and effort into it. And we actually opened up on Film Freeway, and so we're offering vouchers to Kentucky students, young filmmakers. There's a couple programs like at BCTC, in the Pikeville, some film schools and things like that. And so we're offering vouchers for those folks. We're also exploring some other opportunities with that. But we started using Film Freeway this year. And so Film Freeway is really cool. Like a lot of film festivals like open up on that. And what that means basically is that we've gotten some submissions that we normally wouldn't get. And I can tell you right now from looking at those, I am friggin' excited. Like that, it's going to be a good year for film festivals. And so, like, if you guys like, we've got to do a better job of making sure folks know when it's going on, what's going on in that room. Like these are films that you will not see on YouTube, that you will not catch out, on Vudu or Netflix. We have a lot of sections of shorts. We have a lot of full feature films that really are awesome. And we also did a screenplay contest this year, and we've had several submissions for it. And so from my end, like from an owner standpoint and from like putting the show on, like there's a lot of parts that I enjoy, but being able to be a part of that has been really exciting, and I'm really excited for folks to see it and see the same things that I'm kind of seeing and look over, and it's going to be good. We're going to really beat that up this year and not treat it like the redheaded ginger child that it may or may not have been in the past. I mean, I call them how I see them. I've always wanted to put more emphasis on it, and this is the year that we're dedicated to doing that.
I felt like last year we did a good job of putting more emphasis on it, but too late in the game to make it shine, if that makes sense. In other words, once we got the submissions and entries, I thought we did. I thought we pushed it very hard. We had a nifty section on the website. They were announced when they were playing, but now changing the submission process this year, as Brandon pointed out, is going to bring us a lot of. Now we're looking at bringing in stuff from nationwide instead of just a few filmmakers from Louisville. Nothing against our Louisville filmmakers. We had some great stuff come in from them.
Well, we've got some trailers and some things that, like, I think in the past, like, you've had to kind of look at it and been like, look at the name of it and kind of like a brief summary and stuff. And like, we've not really like done a lot of trailers and really putting a lot of emphasis in that. And so that's something that I was kind of like, we really, when I go to like different shows and film festivals, like that was always something I really enjoyed. And you got to let folks get a taste of what's going on up there. And so that's going to be real big this year.
Now, I know Wretch had a trailer last year, but I'm trying to remember if any of the other submissions even had trailers ready for us, at least in time to get it publicized. So that's
not a whole lot. And Wretch had a really good trailer, and Nick did some good work on that. And so instead of like trying to get like, we still want to do a movie that is geared towards some of the guests that we have, but we also want to be able to do some offsite, like in the theater, like for the winner. Like we're going to have different prizes set up for that, different ways of helping the filmmakers that are submitting, getting their names out there and doing some stuff, and also trying to work on an idea that we had last year that we couldn't quite get to fruition, and that's different panels in that area that will help like local filmmakers and stuff. Like if somebody's got questions about wanting to get into, making movies and what that looks like having some folks that have some experience and creating some networking opportunities. We had, like I said, we had the best of intentions last year, but we just couldn't like drive it over the goal line. And so this year I'm putting a lot of my effort on that one.
all right, everybody. We're going to take our next commercial break. We'll be right back with more Scarefest Radio. Everyone is talking about CBD oil. Most of us know that CBD is a cannabis compound that has significant medical benefits, but does not make people high. Its benefits include pain relief, anti-seizure properties, anxiety relief, fights cancer, reduces the risk of diabetes, and it is even used as a sleep aid. Blue Leaf Naturals CBD and hemp products are full-spectrum hemp extract oils. They use only hemp grown in Kentucky, supporting Kentucky farmers and businesses and helping you and your family stay healthy and well. Blue Leaf Naturals, created with care from seed to shelf. Visit their website at blueleafnaturals.com. Blue Leaf Naturals, a Kentucky proud company. And yes, I'm Wes Forsyth, and I use Blue Leaf Naturals CBD oil. And it's helping. It actually is. Y'all have heard me bitch about my shoulder. Look. I'm not saying it didn't hurt at all when I did that, but it is. I'm at the point where I'm just tinkering with the dosage. So everybody, blueleafnaturals.com. Okay, now, one thing we have never addressed on the show, we've kind of brought it up in passing, Brandon. The Scarefest falls on Friday the 13th this year. What are some of the plans that we have to celebrate Friday the 13th, knowing that we can't do Camp Scarefest again?
So we're working on some of this stuff. I'm sorry, hold on. Nicole is like just motioning randomly.
It's your wife that's been working on this. Very hard.
Nicole, would you like to talk?
I can't.
No, go ahead.
I don't have a mic. Oh. Yeah. Hi, Wes. I've been talking to Kane and other people, and we have some big things that we're in the works on Friday the 13th. Okay,
tease us.
But we went to a winery that is the second built brick building in Kentucky, or in Lexington, that's very haunted. So haunted that the people that do the wine counts at night will not go there to do them. It's that haunted, and it's beautiful. And so we are going to be doing possibly some ghost hunts there and some other promotions. They may even let us do our own wines this year. So we're looking into that. And then we talked with Kane. And Kane wants to do something new and different he's never done before at any other con. And so it's a Friday the 13th. It's his favorite con. And we are looking to do something big with Kane. Whether it's eating dinner with Kane or hanging out with him or ghost hunting with him, we're going to do something big with Kane because it's Friday the 13th. So there's that.
So, okay, everybody, the teaser is Kane Hodder is planning something special and fan-related for the Scarefest this year. And now Kane is amazing in that he's the one person that we can announce every year and nobody bitches about it. It still blows me away, the people that when we start asking for who do you want to see at Scarefest next year, that throw his name out there. I cannot even wrap my head around being that type of horror icon to draw that kind of attention. It's like, well, who doesn't have his autograph now?
Well, Wes, let me tell you this. When I went to this winery, I was driving in my car on Bluetooth, and I called Kane, and I texted him. I said, "Can I call you?" Because I still am at that level. I was like, "Can I call you?" But I said, "Can I call you?" He's like, "Yeah." And so I called him and I said, "Hey, I've got these ideas, but I don't know what we have on, like rights and what you can do and what you want to do." And that always plays a factor because, as we know, that the Friday the 13th game just got, kind of shut down from any more new content. And that was a big project they worked on together. That was a Kentucky project where they made that game, and it was one of the biggest horror games of all time, that type of gaming. But he's like, "Oh, yeah, I've never done this." So I was throwing him these ideas. He's that open. He's a great fan, celebrity. He is, new generations are watching Friday the 13th. It's one of those kind of safe films, I think, with showing your kids, okay, I want to watch scary movies. You show them those movies.
Like Friday the 13th is a safe movie to watch, show your kids?
Well, compared to now, yes, it is.
I'm going to agree to disagree on that one.
Well, I mean, it's, the horror of the 80s is very different from now in that, it's what they see in everyday things now. It's very different.
I don't know. I let Scarlett watch The Shining. I don't think I would let her watch Friday the 13th
She's
Part 3
2
straight
years
out of the
old. I didn't say at 2. I'm talking about 13. There's a whole new generation watching these movies.
Welcome to our date night. Everybody out there,
loving
this
Kane.
is an extension of date
keep
night.
Loving Kane.
This is virtual Griffith date night. Welcome aboard. Yeah, all right. One thing, in talking though about the video game, one thing that I'm still working on, and we've actually been in talks with a local company about this, and then also
like Gun Media.
No.
Oh, okay.
This goes back into I'll have to consult with my lawyer, the law offices of Google, but there's the Friday the 13th, the video game, which is actually one of my favorite things of all time, and the boys love it, and so I really want to do a tournament with that this year, and open it up to where we had a gaming room at one point in time, and some of you guys may remember that portal room, and a lot of that was for tabletop gaming and things like that, and so since then though, there's been a lot of growth in not only there's been growth in the tabletop gaming for horror genre, but video game stuff has went absolutely off the rails. like just like movies and horror movies have gotten back into like kind of mainstream, and there's horror movie releases every year. But if you're a big movie person and not such a big gamer, you're missing a whole cross section of awesome stuff that's getting released too. And so like you've got a lot of stuff on the video game side, not just Friday the 13th, but so much stuff out there that's being released every year across all platforms that we want to bring into the fold a little bit. And so the problem this year though is the same thing we've been talking about for the last 30 minutes, is space. But we do have a good plan on how to make it happen. And if we can do that, then hopefully we're going to have some gaming space where, I'm not committed right now to the tabletop gaming. If you guys are listening and you've got an input on that, I'd love to hear it. I really am trying to focus on the video game side of it this year. And I think that would be really exciting for folks. And there's a lot of opportunity to kind of expand on that.
I remember there. I'm trying to remember what year that was that we did the tabletop gaming. But the reason it sticks in my mind is I was working for Live Paranormal at that time, and I went in and did a little video thing on it and covered it and talked to some of the people that were in charge of it, and it was something I felt that even just the tabletop end of it had a lot of room for growth. In other words, to throw it out there the year they did, there was a lot of interest in it. Now, the numbers weren't big, but when you compared them to the similar events that had grown exponentially, we were starting ahead of the game. And so I was a little disappointed that project got dropped before, incidentally, Mr. Griffith took over.
Well, you look at Louisville SuperCon and you look at like some of like really like pronounced Comic Cons, like they all have gaming rooms of sorts, and like it's not a hugely like populated area. Like you've got folks that are very interested in that, are a big part of the experience. And so while it may not be something that we dedicate like an entire 2-room space to or something like that, there are folks that are I think enjoy that, and I'm a huge I'm personification, or I'm the human embodiment of nerdyism. Like I love Dungeons and Dragons, I love video games, I love all this stuff, and so like I want to be able to keep folks entertained and provide something for everybody. And so if we open it back up for the tabletop gaming, I want to hear input from folks on that and what they think, and folks that were around, like, when we did Portal, but also I want to hear about the video game stuff. And EKU, actually Eastern Kentucky University has a video gaming design program. These guys are definitely on my radar, and we've got, like I said, a lot of different games that have come out. And if nothing else, if I was in a conference or a convention and someone offered me the opportunity to play Left 4 Dead that is 20 years old, I would jump at the chance. It's my favorite game of all time. So I say we open it up and we see what we get. Try to offer some folks some different opportunities.
I'm going to apologize to the listeners right now. For about 2 seconds, I hit the wrong mute button, and instead of muting my cough, I muted Brandon. But it only lost 2 words of your conversation. But they got to hear me very well.
But oh yeah, so that that's one big part of it. But we've also got, like, for you guys that noticed the escape rooms that we had last year, and the entertainment that we had kind of around that. Like we're already looking at getting some escape rooms back in there, and that was Asylum last year out of Louisville had an amazing setup. I thought it was phenomenal, and so we're bringing those back in, and actually trying to have. I'd like to really have multiples if we can. And last year we had one, and then we had the coffin ride, which was really interesting.
We tried one other.
And we tried to get another one in there, and we couldn't do it. And so this year, I think we may have a couple, and I think that would be really cool to keep folks interested. I love escape rooms. Like I think they're really fun, especially the ones. We've actually been
Somehow, sounds limited on what we can bring in because we try a lot of new things.
Yeah, I mean, we're like Nicole was saying, like we're trying out different stuff. We're trying out new things, and it may not always work. And but you know,
we're under constraints of the center and what is safety under their policies, and sometimes those are more what would you say, conservative. So the center is great and working with us, but they sometimes don't know what something's going to look like, and they've never done it before, so they're not willing to try.
Well, I mean, like with any venue, you know, you run in everything. The man will always keep you down, Wes. The man will always keep you down. Damn
like,
the man. Long live Scarefest. But
like the beautiful idea of having the axe throwing.
Or zombie laser tag.
I'm on board with axe throwing, but I'll tell you what, my insurance company is not going to be happy with me if they check the form. So yeah, we'll see.
That was an idea that's been floated, everyone, and we just don't see any way that everybody's going to go for that.
I don't know. You know, I had a conversation with Tim about that the other day, and like the way it was presented, like, you know, they take a little bit of the liability out of it. My argument is always pushing back that it's throwing a fucking axe, and I don't really know how you can plan for all the contingencies in throwing said fucking axes and or knives. I don't know. It's like having an indoor shooting range at a Comic-Con. Like I just don't see it happening without sufficient planning.
Yeah, but zombie laser tag was shut too. Oh.
Well, you know what's really funny is that zombie laser tag. I was so words cannot express the feelings that I had after we were told that zombie laser tag could not happen. That was my baby. That was my idea. I was like, I want to see that happen. Shit, I wanted to shoot some zombies. After it was all said and done, we went out to Wicked World and got to do zombie tag on site. And let me tell you right now, when they fire that back up, it is well worth the price of admission. But this year, the center, Becky and them are great folks. I love working with Becky. There were just issues last year. We couldn't get around, and there was reasons for it. So Becky, I don't consider you the man if you're listening. Not damn the man, Becky. You have been always nice to us. But I think this year, you know, she recognized that I was really saddened by not being able to do it. And we've got a few ideas that we actually think that it may happen. And we may actually be able to provide it for folks during the costume contest, which will be Saturday up on the 3rd floor outside the Thoroughbreds. And so if you stay around for the costume party and all that, you should be able to shoot some zombies. I can't say that 100%. But
and I'm not going to tease it because that bit me in the ass last year. I talked about that.
Dude,
for 2
I
months.
know. Anybody out there, please, like, I never got really we explained it a little bit after the show ended last year about what happened, but it wasn't Wicked World's fault. It wasn't our fault. I don't like to point fingers. Like, it's just something that happened. Everybody came into it with the best of intentions. We put a lot of effort into it.
Make it happen.
A lot of effort into it. And
maybe they could just like this year. We just like they could turn us loose in that big hole behind the building.
I mean, there's so much dead space out there right now, and they're sure as shit not gonna let anybody park back there. So hey, we've got all kinds of area back there. I mean, if nothing else, like I thought about, like, now obviously you can't do it because those setups, those guns, man, they are expensive as all get out. So you just can't turn people loose in the free world. But it'd be nice to have a little real life zombie action going on, going through. And the guys at Wicked World really sell that shit. Like when you go out there and you're shooting some zombies, me and Wes got stuck in the back, and we held our own. I saved Wes actually one time.
Yes,
Wes,
yes, you did.
The zombie was coming up on him. He didn't see it, It was straight out of Dawn of the Dead, and I capped it right before it got him. And I got one thank you, Wes, a fucking year ago, and I've not forgotten about it. I deserve more thanks from saving you for a zombie.
I will also plug them for people with disabilities. I take a tour there every single year, 12 to 14 people at a time, and they are so amazing to us, and they get us through the whole, like, wonky sidewalk, everything. They get us through it all. They're amazing.
So if you can't tell, when I look up and she's talking, it's because she's over there, and she keeps walking into my office at intervals when she hears something that she wants to talk about. Welcome to virtual Griffith Date Night.
Well, everybody, during virtual Griffith Date Night, we're going to take our final commercial break of the hour. We'll be right back with more Scarefest Radio. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Find them every month at Lexington, Kentucky's Mystical Fair, mysticalfairlex.com, or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being.
Coyote Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to coyotechris.com to learn more. And welcome back, everybody, to the final segment of Scarefest Radio. And, first of all, I want to apologize. There's a little bit of background noise. I just found out it's because it is fucking pouring down rain here at the studio. And so I'm getting a little bit of feedback from that. And I do want to go ahead. We have a new sponsor, Akashic Awareness. They're out of Elizabethtown, Kentucky. And they haven't given me a script for a commercial yet, but they already paid someone to give them a plug, so I don't have to give them their money back. They're a metaphysical healing and learning center, unlike any other in Kentucky. Large selection of crystals, gems, and minerals greet you the minute you walk in the door, right about the time that Raven, the dog, greets you. So that's AkashicAwareness.com. Check them out and stay tuned for the second hour of Scarefest Radio, Body and Spirit, presented by Mama Rubies. I've got Mark James coming on. We're talking about nothing but Akashic Awareness, the store, the business tonight. So I think I've hit the high points as far as what we were scheduled to talk about, Brandon. Anything that you feel that we've left out?
Yeah, if Jake, we're finalizing karaoke, so I want that reflected on my performance review after 2019. We're also looking at doing a trivia contest too on site and getting that up and going.
Now on the karaoke, are you talking about an ongoing thing or one night, or what are we looking at? Let's get our plans down here. I want to understand.
Well, now karaoke at now Jake, you've got say so in this, so I want to hear from you. But as it stands, we're looking at a one night event, and it'll be for a couple hours, and it'll be on site, and we're gonna throw some. If we get everything planned out the way we want to, we'll hopefully have a guest there, a celebrity guest to help with it. And we've also got a good karaoke team lined out. The only thing I've got to finalize is the time and which day we want to do it, because we're working with a lot of different ideas this year as far as how we want to do the film festival, how we're going to incorporate all these things. And so I'm staying up late at night trying to sort all this out. but we'll be making graphics up. We'll be making the final schedule earlier this year and getting that out to everybody so they can plan accordingly. And really trying to, we're still developing the launch party night. I do want to make sure that, like, any vendors or anybody out there, like, we're publicizing 12th through the 15th. The con floor, the con itself, is open on the 13th, 14th, and 15th. It's not, the 12th is not going to have the open floor for vendors. It's the same as it's always been. We're not doing 4 days of the gauntlet. I've worked many shows myself. I can't handle 4 days. I don't expect you guys to, so please note the 12th is launch party. That's for folks coming into town, folks that want to celebrate the weekend early, get together, hang out. You know, all those guys that we've gotten together and live out of state and develop those friendships. We have an extra night to get in, out of country. It's an extra night for everybody to get in early, have some fun, enjoy some stuff, and we're planning some events around that.
Yeah, it's interesting. All the vendors that ask about, wait a minute, you've got this marked 12th through 15th, and then you tell them, well, it's actually still the 13th. And it's been universal relief from the vendors.
Oh, they look at you like they just passed a kidney stone. Like, it's phenomenal. And I'm glad I can bring that much joy to somebody's life. Next year, I'm going to put it like the 11th through the 15th. Oh, no, it's not 5 days. It's actually still 3. And
now,
just watch the stress melt off their face.
The other thing I want to throw out there, if we're going to do horror trivia, I'm assuming that you're going to treat, because if you're going to do this during the con and have a bunch of Scream Queens involved and have me have me be the intermediary between trivia and the Scream Queens, I quit.
No, that is not the goal, Wes. We can't have you do everything.
Yeah, Tiffany Shepis was gonna beat my ass. I'm just throwing that back out there again because that's one of my horror stories from the horror.
I thought that was your dream.
I do not want Lori Petty. I guess, like, I'm just gonna, like, I'm thinking of people we have. I don't want Lori Petty to issue an ass whipping on anybody.
Well, if there was gonna be one issued, it would be on me. So everybody, we will be back next week. There are a lot. Brandon dropped another name to me tonight. They're trying to get the I's dotted and T's crossed on all these contracts. And I'm going to give them a super teaser. A couple of the names that were thrown out tonight will just freaking rock your world. But we do have to get them signed, so we can't go any further than that. And actually, I know one celebrity type announcement that we could have made tonight, but we didn't because we're bitches. That's just we're teasing it along. But we did. I do want to thank Brandon for coming on very, very short notice tonight. I literally looked at the calendar this week and realized, oh my God, we didn't set anything up, and that's with me and a team of professionals to book the show. We just forgot about tonight.
I mean, Wes, come on. I really don't have a life. All I do is work. So, really, if you just call me up 5 minutes before, the only thing that made this different was we threw some date night in there. Now, one thing I do want to tell folks, if you're listening out there, please, please, please go watch the Child's Play trailer that dropped. And if you're a Star Wars fan, I definitely want to hear some reactions to the trailer. Me and Wes were talking about that before we got started tonight, and I've seen it.
For next week, May the 4th be with you.
Yeah, May the 4th be with you. Get out there. I really want to hear some thoughts on that. And if you guys have, anything out there that you guys, feel like it's a good idea or something you would like to see as far as entertainment goes for the show, nothing is outside the window. Like, I will listen to anything. If I can make it happen, I will. If it's doable and folks want to do it, I'm all about it. This is a show ran by fans for fans, and so that's very important to me. And I think that we all kind of have a say-so in this.
Except me. Remember, do not ask me to put forth any ideas because that is an automatic blackball on whatever it is that I present. It is too. I know it is. Now, my last plug, scarefestradio.com. go to the radio blogs and vlogs. We have a new movie review up, just presented by one of our Scarefest staff writers, Brian Stidham. I'm sorry, mispronounced his name. Brian Stidham has reviewed The Void, currently on Netflix. Go read his review, and it might be a movie you want to check out. Everybody, this has been Scarefest Radio.